Batwoman #5, Margaret Bennett and James Tynion IV writing, Stephanie Hans on art. This was a flashback issue, sort of telling us the start of the Sophia Kate relationship story. And as much as I do miss Epting, I do think Hans for this issue was actually a really good idea. Her style and the colours really give it a sort of dark romance feel to it. It feels very kind of
It has that feeling of being in the past as well.
yeah. It just the feeling of almost fairy tale esque kind of like nostalgia of the start of a romance kind of feel.
Yeah.
I kind of get that sense from it. And one of my favorite things about the art in this actually is when there actually has moments of passion, when they kind of lose themselves a little bit. It's the double page layout when they're on they're dancing in the club, and then later on when they actually kiss on the beach, like some of the panels turn red, and it's like, oh, that's when there's a fire ignited. But then it goes away when like Sophia says, "Oh, go to bed, Kate." Like she puts a stop to it, and it goes back to the normal colours.
Yeah.
But when the passion's ignited, the panels are all red, and I really like
And
that.
I think it contrasts really nicely because in the all the other panels, they're mostly quite washed out, pale colours for the backgrounds. You,
Yeah,
you have you have a few exceptions with like sunsets and stuff, but it's mostly quite washed out and pale.
especially in the second half of the book when it's all of them going into this boat that they're trying to like do this job out at the
Yeah.
sea. It's all
So
blues. It's all those kind of colours.
yeah, it really makes the red stand out.
Yeah, which obviously a big colour for Kate being Batwoman.
Yeah.
Yep.
So no, I like this issue a lot actually. I thought this did a really good job of selling the jealousy of Tahani and why she hates Kate so much. Is that moment sort of halfway through the issue or early on the issue when Sophia, like the maid brings the knife or the bottle of booze, I think it is, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, this was found in Kate's room. She stole this." And Sophia just turns around immediately and says to Hanny, "Did you plant this in her room?" Like she just immediately suspects that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tahani doesn't even deny it. She just immediately says she's only sort of on the wagon because you're sort of blocking her from having any opportunity to jump off of it. So no, I like that. I like that jealousy right from the start, and this weird kind of mentality. It's like, oh, this red devil woman's like corrupting our leader's mind. We need to assassinate her. Like that whole vibe to it. I'm really digging as well.
Yeah. Do you know what I thought was really interesting? Is that almost a tease? You know when she's been drowning and she's out of it, and you get those red tinted panels, but they're not
Yes.
the full red ones that you were talking about before. The final panel on that page is Kate in that the soldier uniform we got right back in
Yeah.
the rebirth issue
Yeah.
that was teased there. It's her pulling a trigger, but that where's that fit into this issue?
I think what that's saying is this is kind of the path that, like, when we get to that point and we realise what sets her down that path. I think it all starts here. I think because the whole idea here that she takes that job to go and help with this oil tanker that they want to go out and deal with. Like she insists on helping. She insists on going and doing that and being a part of this life with them. I think maybe that whole near death moment, and we see all these other moments. We see her with her sister. We see her all these other things. I think that's saying ultimately she was always going down that path. But I mean that's just my reading on it.
Yeah, okay, well that works for me.
Matt, you've been very quiet. Did you read this issue?
No, it's fine. I'm not enjoying it as much as you guys, but not necessarily because it's bad. I'm just like the story's just kind of it's fine. I usually read it for the Epting art, and he wasn't there this time, so it was the
Okay.
first book I read this week. So yeah, so I don't have any deep thoughts like you guys do. The Safia thing is not that it's confusing to me. I just how does this play into the twins and their what was their Kali Industries
Yeah,
and
Cali
whatnot,
Corporation. Yeah,
Kali Corporation.
no, I kind of like that Sophia is resistant to it at first, and she shoots her down at the club, and at the end, after like she goes through this thing where they try to kill her, and she tries to protect her, and they both survive. They're on the beach, and she eventually kisses her. It's like she's finally letting herself like be taken over by Kate. It's almost as much as she keeps talking because it's her narrating the issue, which I thought was an interesting point of view as well.
Yeah,
But she talks about how Kate is like, almost infatuated by the danger of like Sophia controlling her and like her being the dominant one. But it's almost like at the end she gives herself into her as well. It's this two-way street at the end. So you really get this sense of passion. It really feels kind of romantic and passionate as a result. Plus, you've got all these beautifully drawn beaches and all the rest of it. It's just kind of
That the big wave That double page spread of the giant.
Yeah.
It's just, it's gorgeous.
Like I say, I think it's really supposed to play into this idea of like this is how she remembers this. It's this nostalgic kind of like start of a romance where everything's like hot and passionate and
Everything's kind of exaggerated as well.
But I was gonna say your memories are always stronger. You know, they can lie to you. Your memory's not a good. So
yeah.
And it works as to why the things that are washed out are the things that, just aren't quite as important. Like these background other stuff there's washed out because it's like they're faded a little bit.
Which is the genius of like Kate's hair being like bright red is that she's always so vibrant and sticks out.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Yeah. And also I think going forward this really puts in perspective like what Sophia can do to Kate, because like we see like Kate, as Sophia points out, she follows her around like a cat. Just she's attached to her. Like she felt so vulnerable and so sort of obsessed with Sophia. So when we see Sophia later, and I'm pretty sure she's going to be a villain, like what does that do to Kate? What is like Kate having to fight her and now be strong and be independent like she is now? She's a strong person now.
It's almost like the difference between love and infatuation. Like, is it love? Like, did they have a thing, or were they just really wrapped up in one another for a short amount of time?
Yeah, it was that summer fling where they were just kind of passionate,
right.
And then I can see that. But no, I think it sets up a lot of good things just from Kate's character perspective, and even Sophia. Like just when they meet again in present day, and like Kate is now this strong hero, this strong person who fights for herself, versus whatever Sophia's become. I think those will be interesting dynamics because of that.